Sabres out there, if you don't know who this is already, he has a YouTube. He has a SoundCloud. He has a show called Buffalo After Dark, which airs on Horns and Hooves channel at Saturdays at 10. It is the one, the only Buffalo Bobcast. How are you doing today, sir?
I am fantastic. How are you doing tonight?
I'm doing great. Let's do it about the Sabres because, they suck, but it's tough. It's really tough being a Sabres fan right now because Jason Boterill, Terry, and Kim Pegulas, it seems like they've run this team into the ground. But I still think there is hope for this team. It's not all lost yet. I don't think we're going to see a drought like the Bills did. But, I think there's still some cornerstones that Jason Boterill could build off of.
I mean, for me, sorry, kid, I have no faith in the guy. He had 3 years to do this, okay? And the manipulation of media, he's the king of the architect of the salary cap. And all this entitled garbage that you've been asked, and all the Buffalo fans, and I've called out Sabres fans before, and your audience is going to be the first to hear this, and I've said this numerous times, and I don't care what they say, and I've said that Sabres fans are some of the biggest idiots that you will find, because they will just like coddle to whatever they can get their hands on, like whether it's like, wow, Jack Eichel, come here, oh, he's garbage anyway, well, obviously he's great, but like, you get the idea. Like, yeah. They'll get so hyped up and they'll get cocky, and then when things don't go their way, people are just working to find ways to complain. And then afterwards, it's just been misery and misery and misery. I mean, how many GMs and coaches has this team gone through in the last 10 years? How many years have we invested to the Pegulas? How many years are we going to hear that how much of Kim Pegula, and I've called her out before, I've even called her to the point that she's a gold digger. And nobody in Buffalo, and this is coming from Long Islander, by the way, nobody in Buffalo has the balls to call her out for it.
Look, I think she was incredibly it's like she was talking down to the Sabres fans, treating us like we were idiots. We know a little bit more than you do. No, it's a clear, open and shut case. Jason Boterill has no plan at the trade deadline. He had no plan at the 2019 draft. He had no plan in the 2019 offseason. This team has gotten nowhere, and you are the first to answer. Kim and Terry Pegulas, you are the first to answer for the Sabres' misgivings and terribleness. Now, I think it all starts with her and her decision to hire Jason Boterill and Phil Housley. That was a tough choice. I remember during that time, everybody was super hyped. Were you hyped? I mean,
yeah, absolutely. And you know what's funny, too, is that ever since the Pegulas bought the team, the marketing was either buy the Sabres or they're relocating. And then afterwards, it's just like, you know what? I'm going to say this. 2011 Stanley Cup playoffs, I don't even count that as a playoff appearance because they bought the team in February. If you want to be considered a owner who can continuously make the playoffs throughout the years, you have to have a full season as an owner. And usually when owners buy teams, it's usually during the off season. That's when you get the credibility. The Pegulas, on the other hand, Terry is a mindless idiot with money. Let's put it that way. Terry is like that clueless husband who has such a great job. Meanwhile, the wife wants to be the control freak. And then when she gets everything in her way and she gets all the power, why do you think, and ask yourself this question, why do you think Kim is always the one talking for Terry?
You raised a lot of good points right there. Like I said, Terry is very behind the scenes. Does he care about the Sabres? I haven't seen him make a press conference once in a couple years. I haven't seen that.
Well, let me ask you this. Do you actually think he cares about the team, let alone about hockey?
I don't think he ever really was into hockey when he was a kid. Now, I remember when he bought the Sabres at introductory press conference that he was like, oh, yes, I've been a season ticket holder for 30 or blah, blah, blah years. And I loved the French connection. I loved all the Sabres of New Night. And he started getting teared up.
Today, the Buffalo Sabres' reason for existence would be to win a Stanley Cup.
Boy, has that backfired badly.
Well, I have some advice for you, kid, and you're young, and you'll learn this the hard way. You want to know how a person is lying? Is when their lips are moving.
Yeah, I think we're all realizing that during this lockdown.
Well, I mean, how many scummy things has Kim and Terry done as owners? I mean, if anything, bring me back to Alessandro. I don't even care if he was cheap. But the fact remains is that even though he wasn't the greatest owner in the world, he at least was able to say, hey, I'm a cheap guy, and I don't really care, but I'm willing to invest to bringing in good scouts to actually help this team. Because Terry and Kim are two investors from the fracking business who don't care. And I've said, and I saw this coming years ago, even when they bought the Sabres, is that in the back of my mind, I said, Ralph Wilson's going to die one day in a couple of years, and watch them go out and get the Bills and then abandon them. And that's exactly what they did, is they bought the team and they just said, you know what, Bills, you're the king of Buffalo. We're going to treat you like gods. But Sabres, yeah, you got a great fan base, but you guys suck. You don't do anything. We're just going to put you to the side. That's basically what she's telling us in a nutshell. Because Kim is a very entitled person. Okay, so when you look at Kim and you compare that to Terry, Kim is just like all over the place, and she's talking to the media. She's talking about learning, as she quoted. And this was 2 years ago at training camp in Buffalo, by the way, for the Bills. And Terry, of all people, is just like, what am I here for? Why am I standing here? I forgot. Kim, what am I supposed to say?
Totally.
Oh, yeah, that's fine.
That's so right on so many levels. It's just they're a frustrating couple. I remember they seem to regress from their let's throw over money at the Sabres. Let's throw over money towards Tim Murray and Dan Bausma, and let's just see what happens. He went on to Phil Housley, and now we're on to Ralph Krueger, who I think is actually a good coach.
Yes, absolutely. And you know what is funny, too, is that Ralph is not the issue. Okay, if you've been paying attention to the media lately, specifically in Buffalo, Jack Eichel, Kyle Apostol, Rasmus Dahlin, all of these guys are all saying, Sabres management, get your act together. Because if you don't put something together out for any of us in the next couple of years, even Rick Line, and he's like, I've been here for 7 years, and I haven't seen him win a team yet. Yeah. And then Jack is like, listen, I'm giving you one chance, 2 years, whatever, because his no-trade clause moves in 2 years. But he's pretty much saying, get me some help or I'm bolted. Because that's what happened with a few other key players, is that they'll stay on a team for so long, and then it gets completely wasted because of incompetence. And you have a GM who has no idea what he's doing, and he's just using the AHL as his primary tool. And then you have two idiots who run the team that have no hockey knowledge whatsoever, and they're too stubborn to get a president of hockey operations.
I think it's an imperative that the Sabres get a president of hockey ops. I still remember the day when Pat LaFontaine was run out of town, when he resigned. Him and Ted Nolan, they both bolted, and the Sabres have been just crap ever since. They always have had mismanagement, and there's always been signs of a bad culture and toxic culture, and that all stems back to Terry and Kim Pegulas, as I said. But I noticed how you mentioned Jack Eichel. What do you think the future is for him?
It depends. It really depends on what happens this year and the next, because there's no excuse for them to not have the cap for the money they should be investing in getting a goalie, in getting a second-line center, and getting some help on the wing. They need help in every corner. You can't just say, get big names and help Jack out, because that's what Tim Murray did. And there's a good reason why the Sabres are in, quote, cap hell, is because they went out, they rushed the process, and they went backwards for another 5 seasons because Tim Murray was too stupid to realize maybe I don't have to overpay for players like this. I could just go out and get a young, fresh blood player. But no, Kyle Apostol was the top free agent after Steven Stamkos re-signed with the Lightning 2 days before free agency. And I remember Sabres fans were so ecstatic about the idea that Steven Stamkos can go to the Sabres, and the leagues were offering $13 million per season for him. But he's like, nope, I'm not paying, taxes in Canada. I'm staying in Tampa, in a state where there is no taxes being funded, and that's basically what happens.
Yeah, and that was one of the main points that that's why they brought in Jason Boterill, to fix up and shore up their farm system. The Rochester Americans have been doing all right, but I don't think there's any top-end prospect.
If you want to look deeper into the situation, you look in the Quebec majors. You look in, the WHL. You look in the SHL. I mean, guys like Ukko-Pekka Luukkonen, he's one of the best goalie prospects in the world. And then behind that, you had Casey Middlestad, who I think still has a glimmer of hope. But it's just the problem is the Sabres ruined him. They ruined him right after the World Juniors. And they said, okay, come on up. And he's done nothing. Alex Nylander was absolute trash. And that was from Tim Murray, by the way.
Yeah.
Who else was there? Dylan Cousins. They're developing him now in the Western Hockey League with the Leverage Hurricanes because they knew they screwed up the last time with Casey Middlestad. So really, you're basically trapped with what you have for right now, and you have so little to work with that you have nowhere else to go. So my thinking is, if Boterill doesn't get his act together this year, das padanya. He's out.